All right, now I think it's working. What's going on, everyone? If you don't know me, even though you're on my friends list, my name is Steve, and I help really busy grown-ups achieve their fitness goals and look awesome and finally feel confident in themselves, despite your busy life. And I wanted to talk about today why the elliptical machine is making you fat. Now, obviously, that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Doing activity, even if it's just low intensity cardio or something, clearly does not make you fat. It burns calories just like walking around. So it's a little bit of a joke. So here's what I mean by that, though. There is a little bit of truth to it. And first of all, yes, that activity is good for you, that low intensity cardio. I do it. And it is true when you hear that, it burns the most fat. Yes and no. So while you're performing the activity, that activity, because it's long in duration and low in intensity, is fueled predominantly by fat. That's 100% true. And that is very useful. Here's the nugget of truth, though, as far as why it makes you fat. So you're only burning, first of all, a couple of hundred calories during the actual workout, depending on how long it is. And then after the workout's done, you're not really burning essentially any extra calories. Your metabolism isn't really elevated afterwards. So once you step off the treadmill or elliptical or bike or whatever, you're done. Like, the benefit for you is done. And if this is really all you're doing, you're just doing cardio machines over and over, you're kind of sabotaging yourself, because first of all, you're throwing your hormones totally out of whack, right? And it's going to actually start to crush your metabolism, because all that activity does is break stuff down. It breaks down tissue, fat tissue, sure, but also other tissue. So that's you're kind of almost cutting off your nose to spite your face. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with this type of training. You should do some of it. It should be included in your routine. But the majority of the time, you should be focusing on other stuff if you want to actually meet your goals. Now, you might be asking, Steve, what's this other stuff? I'm glad you asked. The other stuff is strength training. You must strength train. It could be body weight, it could be barbells, it could be dumbbells, it could be kettlebells, it could be bands, it could be big freaking rocks. Your body doesn't know the difference. I think just going to the gym and using weights, barbells, dumbbells, and some of the machines is like the simplest way to do it. Not easy, but the simplest way. You got to be focusing more on strength training, and here's why. First of all, and this is really like a bonus, it doesn't really matter in the long run, you're burning more calories when you're strength training during the actual activity itself. Now, not all actually a very low percentage of those calories are going to come from fat. It's mostly carbohydrates. That's the preferred fuel source for your body when you're doing something really hard and intense and briefer in duration. Like, that's what weight training is. But your metabolism is elevated for a much longer time afterwards. Your body basically has to recover from the butt kicking you gave it for the next 24 to 36 hours, right? It has to resynthesize new tissue, new protein. It has to restore muscle glycogen, or, replace muscle glycogen, I should say. So that recovery period in the day, following your session is when your metabolism is actually elevated. Second of all, this type of training, obviously, weight training, obviously lends itself to building lean tissue, building muscle mass as you're losing fat, especially if you're a beginner. And this is what we call body composition. How much muscle you have and how much fat you have determines how you look. That's your body composition. So basically, because you're building lean tissue and dropping fat, again, especially if you're a beginner, it's harder to do that at the same time when you're advanced. This means your body visually is going to change much more rapidly, which is good. Like, you'll lose fat around your waist, but you'll build muscle. So visually, you'll see improvements much more quickly, and they'll be much more hey, Mr. McCarthy, they'll be much more pronounced. And by adding some of that valuable muscle tissue to your body, by engaging in strength training on a regular basis, you're going to make your body process and store the nutrients, the food that you eat, in a much more efficient way. If you're strength training regularly, you're going to be much more likely to store what you eat, even if it's not the greatest food choice in the world, in your muscle cells rather than around your waist as fat tissue. Does that make sense? So the food goes where you would want it to go rather than where you don't want it to go, like the muffin top love handle sort of situation. Now, the next question is, okay, so you're thinking, Steve, I know all this, right? I know I should strength train. but how do I get started? Or how do I improve what I'm already doing? Because I think the reality, not I think, I know the reality is most folks, when they walk into the gym, they're like, oh yeah, I should definitely be lifting some weights, but they'll do 30 minutes of cardio first, and then they'll go lift a bunch of light weights for high repetitions, doing whatever they feel like doing with no plan, no progression. That's usually, if that sounds familiar, hit like when you watch this. So you might be wondering, how do you get started in a structured, progressive way to actually make progress? And I'm glad you asked, because just showing up in the gym willy-nilly is not helpful. There's a ton of really great programs out there that are totally for free that you can find online. One of my favorite templates, basically like a template is your weekly schedule, like a macro view, a wide view of what your week would look like. One of my favorite templates is strength training 4 days a week, 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days. The other days are rest days, or the other days could be where you do your cardio or, whatever. But 4 days a week, I think, works really, really well. It helps you hit everything twice a week, which is great frequency for a beginner, and you'll make a ton of progress really fast. And each workout, really, from start to finish, from the moment you walk into the gym and pick up your first weight and start warming up to the minute you walk out, should be 60 minutes or less. If you're in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're probably doing too much nonsense, not focusing on the stuff that matters. I think the template for those 4 days should be for your 2 upper body days. On both upper body days, you're focusing on pushing muscles and pulling muscles, so like pressing, over your head and out in front of you, and pulling both from over your head and in front of you, horizontal and vertical pushing and pulling. Your other 2 days, legs, you're focusing on stuff like squats and deadlifts and lunges and all kinds of stuff like that. You might also be wondering, what those exercises should be each of those 4 days. I'm really glad you asked. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but in my, hi Wendy, I'm giving away a month of free coaching. I've talked about it a bunch before. It's by application only. There's only 10 spots left now. It's going to be all on Facebook in a secret group. I'm giving it away. It's a month where I tell you what to eat and I tell you exactly what to do in the gym. And you're going to make way more progress, way faster, because it takes all the guesswork out. And in that month of coaching, I'm going to explain exactly the template you're going to do and everything you're going to do in the gym, start to finish. Hi, thanks for the like. So there's only 10 spots and it starts July 2nd. So if that kind of sounds like something, dogs are going crazy, that appeals to you because you're sick of not making any progress, you want to take the guesswork out and finally start taking steps towards, the body you want. You finally want to be, that guy or that girl where you look at them and they're like, man, I wish I could look like that. If you want to start to finally take steps towards that, then this is for you. The way you apply for it is send me a private message and I'll send you the application. You fill it out. I look over the answers and, we decide if we're a good fit or not. And if we are, I invite you to the group and we get started on July 2nd. And between now and then, I'm posting lots of cool stuff in there anyway. So if you're ready to make that step, send me a message and we're going to go over that exact program in the group. No guesswork. You're finally going to start making progress. So that's all I got for you. If you guys have any, I just had a brain fart, have any questions, put them in the comments below and I will make sure I answer them. Or you can shoot me a message, or if you're already in my private group, post it there and I am happy to help you out. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great day. Happy Saturday.